Greetings. Hi, I'm Dr. Walter Jacobson, a board certified psychiatrist. In my book, Forgive to Win, I talk about a bunch of different things about forgiveness, acceptance, compassion, love, being of service to others, letting go of guilt and shame and self loathing by learning how to forgive, accept, love others, be of service to others, get out of ourself, get out of our ego, reframe our world in terms of how can I help others as opposed to what's in it for me. Okay, so but in the book I have these exercises. I have a forgiveness diet, which is are ways to help you to forgive when your ego doesn't want you to. So there are different tools and techniques to help you forgive if you believe the premise that forgiving others is the smartest thing for you to do for yourself. When you forgive others, you're forgiving yourself. When you forgive others, you're releasing yourself from victimhood and and uh, and and uh, and you're freeing yourself of your own guilt, shame, and self-loathing. So we forgive others for our own peace of mind. So one of the exercises, though, that in the book is called Synchronistic Contemplations, and this is the premise of this is that in a sense the world is in a sense a an elaborate Craigslist in the way that you know when people need something, they put the mental, psychological energy out there that they need an apartment or they need this or that. This is the kind of the basis of the law of attraction. Is you want something, your consciousness, even your subconscious, your unconscious, is putting out what your needs are, what your desires are, and then there's people out there who want to sell you a computer. They want to rent you an apartment. And so they're putting their energy out, what their need is. So you have a need to get something, they have a need to get something. And so what happens is the universe, the collective unconscious, actually sort of synchronizes and coordinates so that people, places, and circumstances will come together in time and space so that everybody can sort of get their needs met. Okay? So, part of this idea is if the universe is kind of doing this and kind of setting the stage for a bunch of things to happen, but it's really us as prime movers. Each of us are kind of cooperating with that. We're putting our needs into the pot. Um, okay, so what that means is if you look at your world, if you look at like odd things that happen, if you look at coincidences, which seem to be meaningless. If you start to look at these things and consider, well, maybe they're not meaningless. Maybe coincidences seem meaningless, but maybe they're connected in some way. Maybe there's some like lesson or message that I can learn. Maybe a coincidence is reality emphasis. And if I think about it and contemplate the situation, I may gain some wisdom or some insight. So you look at your world and you don't just kind of stumble and bumble through your life, and you don't have blinders on. Be situationally aware of your environment, of your world, but also be aware of synchronistic things, of things that seem to happen coincidentally, and things that seem to happen accidentally. Okay, I'll give you an example of this. Uh, Several months ago, I decided to end the subscription to the LA Times. I used to get it on the weekend. I like the calendar section. I would get it on the weekend. But like many of us, where the print media just isn't happening. It's not necessary. There's so much information to get on the internet and through social media that I just decided, look, I'm wasting my money. I'm really not looking at the print version of the LA Times that much when I do get it, and it became like unnecessary, so I canceled it. All right, so this was about 2 months ago. They stopped delivering the paper. Okay, so then this past Sunday, they deliver me this. I get the Sunday Times delivered after I've canceled it for 2 months, and I haven't been getting it for 2 months, and suddenly they're delivering my paper on Sunday. Okay, so first of all, let me just say that to me that speaks to the incompetence of our world, the decay of our of businesses, the decay of work ethic, the the decay of competence, of due diligence, of of pride in one's work. Somebody boneheaded out. Okay, somebody made a mistake and somehow got my subscription going again when they shouldn't have. So somebody wasn't minding the store. Okay, and so that's just one. That's just a sidebar that I have. That a kind of an annoyance I have, a grievance with the world that so many people are so unhappy in their work and so angry and resentful about their station in life that they kind of don't care anymore about their job, and so they're lazy and they're sloppy. They're distracted. They're probably playing their video games at work or whatever, and they're not really interested in doing their job correctly or with the full attention. So mistakes get made, and I think that's very unfortunate. But there has been a decay in in people being proud of their work and doing what they're supposed to do and doing it right the first time. Right. But I digress. Okay, so so the thing about so what I thought when I get the Sunday paper, I go, okay, wait a second, let me try to think about this. So I canceled this 2 months ago, and now I get a Sunday paper. And obviously, someone made a mistake. But what if a person made a mistake or a machine made a mistake? But what if the universe didn't make a mistake? What if the universe, right, wanted me to get that newspaper? What if there's something in that newspaper that could be valuable to me to know, and that's why that paper was delivered, despite the fact that it shouldn't have been? So I just took that approach. I thought, okay, well, let's do this experiment. Let me go through the newspaper, go through the Sunday LA Times, and see if something jumps out at me, and that would perhaps explain why that newspaper was delivered. Okay, so I went through it, and I looked through everything, every section, and then finally, actually, in one of the sections, there was a story that was relevant to one of the projects that I'm working on. I do a bunch of different things. I do a lot of writing of different things and videos, and etc. And this one story was about this guy who's doing kind of what I'm interested in doing on one of these projects, and he's somebody that I can network with, I can reach out to, and it may be a very strong contact and connection. And I wouldn't have had it if I hadn't looked through that newspaper, if I hadn't gotten that newspaper by mistake. So maybe it wasn't a mistake. Maybe the universe knew what it was doing, even though the person who re-engaged my subscription to the LA Times didn't know what they were doing. In any event, it's I suggest you, it's food for thought. I suggest you think about that. The next time something happens that is odd or a mistake or weird or synchronous or coincidental, try to think a little bit, pause a little bit, look at the fabric of it all, look at the interconnections of it all. Look at what your needs are. Look at and consider the possibility that that embedded in that situation, in that mistake, that whatever, embedded in it is some piece of wisdom or knowledge or information that you can use to benefit yourself, or to keep yourself from getting into trouble. Because sometimes the universe can give you signposts and clues and red flags that tell you to beware and step back and disengage. And a lot of times we ignore those. And so it's important to pay attention to those and as well. So pay attention to the things that happen that may seem odd or different or synchronous or coincidental, and consider that maybe there's information there that can help you navigate your life better. All right, that's it. Take care. Peace be with you. See you next time.